Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you're all doing well out there this week, making the best out of this situation we find ourselves stuck in right now. I'm walking a lot. It's a beautiful day here. I just got back from a walk. I'll probably go for another walk later this afternoon, and yeah, just making the best of things. Today we're going to talk about how to lose weight on a raw food diet. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate if you go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then be sure you click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel and come check out some of my content while you're stuck inside. How to lose weight on a raw food diet. Jesus, I almost had to ask myself, how can you not lose weight on a raw food diet? I've done a number of these videos in the past, a number, and I still get questions about weight loss all the time like it's some big mystery. And it's not a big mystery. This lifestyle is the first time I found to where I was like, damn, I can eat all I want all the time. And now I maintain my weight, but I could still drop weight like that. And I still do if I don't pay attention to what I eat. So let me start off with something I've said a million times on this show, but really take it to heart, really listen. The cleaner you can eat, the cleaner you eat, the more you can eat. The more you eat, the more you're going to be satisfied. When you eat garbage, when you eat things that are really calorie dense, it just doesn't fill you up. You're always going to want more. When you're not feeding your body real nutrition, when you're just eating garbage, when you're just eating junk, it's not going to fill you up. You can eat that stuff all day long. So the cleaner you eat, that it's as simple as that. It's not even a matter of you've got to be fully raw or you have to eat this food or you have to eat that food. It's just a matter of eating clean and eating whole plant-based foods. I get one question I don't even answer. I just always delete those. What's a good powder? What's a good protein powder? Except for my green powders, and I always do my research to make sure I get a quality one. But it's just whole plant-based foods. One thing I would say, calories do count. I don't know where, I don't know where this thing started that no, calories don't count and you eat all this and blah, 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 blah. Calories do count. But you don't want to go counting calories in the same mentality or approaching this in the same mentality that you do, say, a Weight Watchers or a Jenny Craig or whatever. And I have very unorthodox ways about how I do everything. And I just happen to have it here. So like I say, it keeps me, I just like do it for observation purposes because I'm not worried about gaining or losing weight at this point. But most days I get on my scale. I've got a scale here at the house. It's a doctor's scale. I get on the scale. Some days it's up a little higher than it was the day before. Some days it's down lower. I just simply adjust from there. I don't recommend restricting. And a lot of times when people say, well, I'm eating this many calories a day, they're always restricting. I don't recommend restricting, but I do recommend getting really in touch with exactly the amount of food. And sometimes I talk in volume. I'm not sure, I don't count calories, but I know the volume of food I'm taking in. I'm like, all right, I had 9 bananas in my nice cream this morning. I had this amount of bananas in my green smoothie, had a salad, have an avocado on here, and just kind of guesstimating, I get really close. But it's more about the volume. Now, if you're getting on and like I say, some people are so freaked out about that. I don't even want a scale in my house. Oh, the scale's gonna throw them into some sort of mental turmoil. I don't understand that, but anyhow, it's just like that. I just adjust. I've always done that. Like I say, and the scale does one thing for me. It really, instead of keeping me from gaining weight, it keeps me from losing too much weight. Because if I don't pay attention for a while, I don't get on the scale for 4 or 5 or 6 days. I get on there and I'm down 4 pounds. So it's like, all right, you got to eat a little bit more. So you can adjust, but the calories do count. The amount you're eating counts. Best thing you can do is get yourself some sort of a food journal. And I'm going to have some food journals here real soon on Amazon when things get back up to normal. But get yourself a food journal. Write everything down. Write everything down that you eat. Write everything down that you drink. And you will be able to go back. And if you're not losing the weight, you go right straight back through there and go through there. Okay, well, maybe I could do with a little bit less of this. Maybe I could do with a little bit less of that. Fat. The fat you eat is the fat you wear. I'm sorry, when you're trying to lose weight, fat is not a bad thing. We need fat in our life. I encourage people to eat fat. But sometimes it just doesn't correlate. The people that are telling me they're trying to lose weight and they should tell me, well, I ate this, and this, you're eating too much fat. Stop eating so much fat. At least during the phase where you're trying to release some weight, trying to get rid of some weight. Keep that fat, like I never come out and say, okay, eat this percentage or whatever, but keep that fat percentage low when you're trying to lose weight. And once again, I'm not saying you can't eat a healthy amount of fat, but at least keep it down. I would definitely recommend keeping your fat in the 10%, no higher than 15% range when you're trying to lose weight. Totally different. I don't always stick to that, but I'm not trying to lose weight. But the fat, it's simple as that. You can't gobble down a bunch of fat and expect to be lean. And another one that I get asked about all the time, and people almost get mad at me. I'm not telling you, you can eat whatever you want to. Oil. Oil is concentrated fat. It's pure fat. It's nothing but fat. And that goes back to the cleaner you eat, the more you can eat. You take that little tablespoon, a tablespoon of olive oil that is not going to give you any satisfaction. It fills up, what, about that much of your stomach? The calories you get in that, the calories and fat you get in that, you could eat vegetables this big. You could eat so much fruit. So like the oil, I'm sorry, if you want oil, then I'm just not your guy. But oil is just concentrated fat. I'm not a fanatic. I use oil from time to time. I think I used some a couple of weeks ago, and probably from time to time when I go to a restaurant. But in general, I don't use fat. I don't use oil, concentrated fat. Staying hydrated, and especially with, it's getting warmer outside now. You might be getting a little bit more active. So many times people just eat, they're thirsty. When we're not, when you're not properly hydrated, sometimes you get an empty feeling and you fill that up with food. When you're properly hydrated, you tend to not sit around and snack and just scarf everything down that that's around the house. Now, one thing too, clean your environment. I think I even mentioned that in the last video about getting started on a plant-based or raw food diet. Clean up your environment. Stay busy. Try to be active during this time. If you can get outside of your house, I know a lot of people can't because they're not necessarily in a small town with big open spaces. Try to move around in your house a little bit, but don't just sit around and eat. You don't want to come out of this. Listen, I'm going to tell you something, and you might want to leave here if you're one of these super sensitive folks, because you might not like this. If this might hurt your feels a little bit. But all I'm hearing on Instagram right now is there's just this whole segment of just basically telling you, oh, it's okay, eat whatever you want to, lay around, wallow in this situation, eat your feelings, don't let anybody tell you, don't worry about gaining weight. There's a lot of people that are going to come out of this damn quarantine 20, 30 pounds heavier. Why? And I think a lot of people on social media tell them that because they got books ready to come out. They're going to have a weight loss book coming out to to counteract that bad advice that they give. But no, don't sit around during this time and just scarf food down. Find things that you like to eat. That is the number one, I believe, most important thing about this lifestyle. Everybody's always wanting to know what this recipe is, that recipe is, what's your meal plan, what's this meal plan. And that's a good place to start because, in the beginning you don't know where to start, but you have to find food that you like. And I'm going to tell you something, as far as the weight loss goes, that's even more important. Because if you start finding those salad dressings that you really like that are also good for losing weight, like one of my favorite ones, and we're getting, coming up into the summer here pretty soon, is mango and red pepper. Mango and red pepper is beautiful. There's no fat in there. It tastes good. You can dress it up. You can put smoked paprika in there. You can put curry in there. You can put chili powder. You can use all different types of flavoring, but that dressing rocks. So if you can find yourself, especially coming into summer, it's going to be time for a lot of salads, fresh vegetables, fresh produce. If you can find yourself 3 or 4 or 5 good, solid salad dressing recipes or sauces that you like, that goes a long way. But in the end, there's no tricks. There's no tricks, and there doesn't need to be. Sometimes I think like I'm trying to learn another language to convey to other people how to do this. I've been doing this almost 8 years now. I think June will be 8 years. I was a fat kid. I was overweight as a kid. I wasn't fat when I was in high school, but I was always a bigger guy. I was probably 100, almost 200 pounds when I graduated high school. I was big throughout college. Ate like a bear. I was kind of one of those big linebacker looking dudes. I was about 245. Anyhow, all through the progression of my life, I'm a bigger bone guy. It was always like everybody else. It wasn't easy for me to lose weight. If I let and I was a drinker. I was a heavy drinker. And when I'd go on my drinking binges, I'd eat garbage. I never got super heavy as an adult. There would always just be that 20 to 30 pounds. You know, you get a little too high, then it's time to start losing weight again. Now, when I tried to lose weight before I became a vegan, before I became a very high raw vegan, it was the same for me as it is for everybody else. So that's why I take all the metabolism stuff with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that doesn't have some effect on you, but it's an excuse in a lot of ways. Like there's a lot of people that I've watched, and I'll make a point to just kind of play detective, where they're like, well, I can't lose weight. And I'm like, well, you're doing this, 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 and this. Maybe you can't lose weight, but maybe if you weren't doing this, 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 and this, that ain't helping you. It's like a friend of mine that used to tell me she couldn't lose weight. This is in the old days when I ate, drank, did whatever, but she was like, well, I just can't lose weight. I've got the thyroid, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but you drink. I knew how much they were drinking each week. I went to eat with them. I know what you're eating. So, you know. Anyhow, let's go back to where we started from. Get yourself a journal. Get yourself a food journal. If you're having a hard time losing weight, or if you're struggling with anything on the raw food diet, get yourself a food journal and write down every piece of food, everything you eat. Then if it's still not working for you, and then you go to people to ask them some questions, you can go in. I can say, okay, so tell me, what did you eat the last 3 days? What did you eat the last 3 days? Well, I ate, okay, on Monday I ate blah, 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 blah. On Tuesday I ate blah, 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 blah. Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody that could possibly step in and, well, there you go, right there. You had, on Monday you had cup of cashews in that recipe, or you had this, or you had that, or yeah, that's probably not the best idea. And move that body as much as you can. If you can't get outside, try to do something inside. There's some good workouts on YouTube. There's different things like kettlebells. There's body weight movement. But yeah, it's that time, get on it now and be able to step out of this quarantine into bathing suit weather and be ready. But anyhow, that's all I got. It's not, it's not a diet. It's not a diet. I can literally stay awake for the rest of my life and put zero effort into it. And I was never able to do that for the first 48 years of my life. So that's my testimony to it. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys again in a few days. Peace.